Something big has just shaken up the AFC North. And trust me, no one saw this coming. A major quarterback switch has stunned the division and could change everything for Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco. Yes, that Joe Flacco is heading to the Cincinnati Bengals. And you better believe this move could flip the script for the Steelers' crucial Week 7 showdown on Thursday Night Football. I'll break down exactly what this means for Pittsburgh and how it might impact the AFC North race moving forward. But that's not all. Odell Beckham Jr. is once again in the headlines. The star receiver has opened up about his interest in joining the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the buzz around this possibility is getting louder. We'll talk about how realistic that move really is and what it could mean for the black and gold. Before we jump into all the latest headlines and updates, before listening to the latest news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. Now, let's talk about what's happening inside the Steelers organization today. Pittsburgh has made a few important roster changes. Linebacker Ja'Whaun Bentley, one of the more recent signings, has been released from the practice squad before even making it to the active roster. In his place, the team has added Raheem Blackshear, a running back and special team specialist who could see action as soon as this Sunday. So what's behind these moves? It seems the coaching staff is finally confident in the progress of their linebacker unit. Peyton Wilson has stepped up his run defense week after week. Cole Holcomb continues to perform well as a reliable third option, and rookie Carson Brunner has been impressive, especially on special teams. With all that growth, Bentley simply became the odd man out. As for Blackshear, keep an eye on him. With Calvin Austin III likely sidelined due to a shoulder injury, Blackshear could get his shot as the team's punt returner. His quickness and special teams experience might make him the spark Pittsburgh needs in that role. There's a lot more to unpack as the Steelers gear up for Week 7. So stay with me, because this is just the beginning of today's breaking updates. It's official, and honestly, I couldn't help but laugh when this news alert popped up. The Cleveland Browns have just traded Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, within the division. That means we're about to witness a battle between two quarterbacks over 40 years old in Week 7, when the Bengals face the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. Here's the deal. Cincinnati gets Joe Flacco and a 2026 sixth-round pick, while Cleveland upgrades to a fifth-rounder. It's a small move on paper, but the story behind it is much bigger. The Browns didn't need Flacco anymore. They've got Shedeur Sanders ready as a backup in case Dylan Gabriel goes down. Once Flacco lost his spot, his time in Cleveland was all but over. Now, he gets one last shot to start again, at least until Joe Burrow returns later this season to try and rescue Cincinnati's season. But here's the thing. This move feels desperate. The Bengals are sitting at 2-3, riding a 3-game losing streak, and trying anything to stay alive. Jake Browning wasn't cutting it, but honestly, bringing in Flacco might not solve their problems either. Let's be real, Flacco can't move like he used to. He's stepping behind one of the worst offensive lines in football, and that's a recipe for disaster. Unless he releases the ball lightning fast, the way Aaron Rodgers is doing in Pittsburgh, he's going to get eaten alive by opposing defenses. And that's where it gets interesting for the Steelers. Because this Week 7 matchup just got a whole lot easier. Pittsburgh's pass rush is relentless, deep, powerful, and hungry. A stationary quarterback like Flacco? That's open season for TJ Watt and company. If we're being honest, the Bengals might have been better off chasing someone like Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins. Instead, they've got a veteran statue who'll be learning a brand new offense in less than 2 weeks, just in time to face one of the most dangerous defensive fronts in the NFL. So, as far as I'm concerned, good luck, Joe Flacco. You're going to need it when the black and gold come for you on Thursday night. Stay with me. There's still a lot more coming about how this move could shape the AFC North battle ahead. So once again, Odell Beckham Jr. has found his way back into the Steelers conversation, and this time, it's coming straight from him. The star receiver recently mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers as one of the teams he'd love to play for this season. During his appearance on the Pivot podcast, Beckham didn't just talk about Pittsburgh, he also name-dropped a few other possible destinations. He spoke about reuniting with his former team, the Los Angeles Rams, where he won a Super Bowl. He also mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs, who are clearly struggling to find consistency at the wide receiver position. And of course, Beckham said something that caught everyone's attention. He wants to suit up for the New York Giants again before retiring. Now, let's be real. That last one makes a lot of sense emotionally. A return to the team that drafted him, the city where his career began, and one last run in blue before walking away from the game. If you're the Giants right now, with your offense looking flat and your quarterback Jackson Dart needing more weapons, what do you really have to lose? As for the Steelers, it's an intriguing thought, no doubt. The connection between Aaron Rodgers and Beckham would draw huge attention. But if Pittsburgh really wanted to make that move, they probably would have done it already. The timing made perfect sense earlier in the season, especially during the bye week. That would have given Beckham time to learn the playbook and get his rhythm before returning to action. But it didn't happen. The team stayed quiet, and that silence says a lot. Maybe the Steelers' front office doesn't see him as the right fit right now. Or maybe they're simply confident in the receivers they already have. And just when you thought the Odell rumors were heating up again, new reports hit. Odell Beckham Jr. has been suspended for 6 games. That changes everything. The possibility of him joining any team, including the Steelers, just became far more complicated. So for now, all the speculation will have to wait. But as we've seen with Odell before, his story in the NFL is never short on drama. Stay with me, because what's coming next from Mike Tomlin's latest press conference might surprise you even more. So even if the Steelers wanted to bring Odell Beckham Jr. in right now, it simply wouldn't make sense. By the time his 6-game suspension is over, Calvin Austin III should already be back from his shoulder injury, and that closes the window completely. Earlier today, insider Tom Pelissero confirmed that Beckham has officially accepted his suspension after testing positive for PEDs last season. Odell insists he never knowingly took anything illegal, but regardless, he'll miss significant time before becoming eligible to play again. Now, Beckham still says he plans to play this season, but where? That's the question. His future depends on which teams end up desperate for receiver help later in the year. Personally, I'd love to see him get one last shot in New York. The Giants aren't contending anyway, and seeing him back in that blue jersey, even for a short run, would be a nostalgic ending to a wild career. Still, if we're being honest, it's fair to wonder if OBJ can still move the needle for a contender. His explosiveness isn't what it used to be, and teams chasing the playoffs might look elsewhere for a spark. Now, shifting focus to the Steelers, let's get into some major Tomlin Tuesday takeaways. The big question right now, if Odell's off the table and Calvin Austin is banged up, who steps up at wide receiver? Coach Mike Tomlin answered that directly, and it sounds like Roman Wilson and Scotty Miller are next in line. Both will see their roles increase while Austin works his way back. Tomlin even left the door open for Austin possibly returning this week, saying they'll monitor his progress closely. But what really caught attention was how Tomlin talked about Roman Wilson. When asked why the rookie hasn't seen more action, Tomlin explained that the team's heavy personnel packages have limited his snaps, but then he ended his response with 2 simple words: keep watching. That's a clear hint. The Steelers may be planning to unleash Wilson in a bigger role this Sunday, especially if Austin can't suit up. And speaking of returns, Tomlin shared some great injury updates. He sounded genuinely optimistic about several key players. According to him, Alex Highsmith, Joey Porter Jr., and Jaylen Warren are all expected to be ready for action this week. All 3 were already spotted practicing in Monday's bonus session, and Tomlin made it clear they looked sharp, confident, and ready to go. Even Joey Porter Jr. confirmed it himself, telling reporters, "I'll be playing Sunday." That's a huge boost for Pittsburgh heading into Week 7. Stay with me, because what Mike Tomlin said next gives us a big clue about how this team plans to attack the Bengals. Getting these 3 players back, Alex Highsmith, Joey Porter Jr., and Jaylen Warren, is massive for Pittsburgh. These aren't just names on the roster. They're key starters, difference makers, and emotional anchors for this defense. Now, when it comes to Alex Highsmith, Mike Tomlin made one thing clear. Yes, he's back, but he'll be eased in. After missing multiple weeks, his conditioning isn't quite at full strength yet. That means he'll likely be on a snap count to prevent re-injury and slowly build back to full workload. And for those worried about Nick Herbig losing playing time, don't be. Tomlin hinted that Herbig will continue to see plenty of snaps. In fact, the Steelers plan to keep all 3 of their top pass rushers, TJ Watt, Highsmith, and Herbig, heavily involved in the rotation. That depth is what keeps Pittsburgh's defense dangerous deep into the season. When Highsmith is fully back, expect Tomlin to still rotate him with Herbig to keep both fresh. And when the Steelers unleash their NASCAR package, those heavy pass rush downs, all 3 could be on the field at once. That's a nightmare for any offensive line trying to block Watt and Highsmith with Herbig coming off the edge. Now let's talk about Calvin Austin III and Jalen Ramsey. Tomlin's tone was far more positive than expected. Many assumed he'd rule them out early, but instead, He praised how aggressively both players have attacked their recoveries. They'll likely be limited in practice this week, but the door is still open for a surprise return. It's still unlikely they'll play Sunday, but Tomlin didn't close the window, which says a lot. And if Jalen Ramsey can't go, expect Brandon Eccles to step into the slot corner role. He's been holding it down on the outside while Joey Porter Jr. healed, and his versatility, being able to play both inside and outside, is becoming one of Pittsburgh's biggest hidden strengths. That signing has turned out to be a quiet gem for this defense. Tomlin also spoke about the advantages of having an early bye week, and his comments were fascinating. He reminded everyone that the Philadelphia Eagles had an early bye in Week 5 last year, and after making key adjustments, they never lost another game with Jalen Hurts finishing. Now, he wasn't claiming the Steelers are about to follow that same script, but the message was clear. This team has used the bye week to reset, refocus, and fix what needed fixing. It's the kind of mid-season recalibration that can quietly transform a good team into a serious contender. Stay with me, because what's coming next could tell us exactly how the Steelers plan to attack the rest of the season. Mike Tomlin had some powerful words about the value of an early bye week, and honestly, his perspective makes a lot of sense. He explained that the bye isn't just about rest, it's about reflection. It gives the team a chance to step back and really study themselves. According to Tomlin, the coaching staff used this time to analyze everything, from their offensive and defensive schemes to how their matchups and player rotations have adapted to injuries or changing circumstances. They even studied what's trending across the entire NFL, how teams are creating big plays, how defenses are stopping them, how turnovers are happening, and what kind of risks teams are taking on fourth down. That's the kind of deep, strategic self-awareness that separates average teams from great ones. And when you have an early bye, like Pittsburgh did, you get a valuable head start on those adjustments. You get to understand the league's rhythm, what's working, what's not, before it's too late to change course. Tomlin called it getting a sample size of how the ball is being rolled out globally, meaning they're studying how the entire game of football is evolving this season, not just their own playbook. Now, of course, there are always trade-offs. A late bye gives you rest right before the playoff push. But an early bye, especially when you're 3-1, gives you the time to fix small issues before they grow into big ones, and to strengthen what's already working. Tomlin also confirmed that the Steelers will continue using their heavy, jumbo, personnel packages, featuring Spencer Anderson and Darnell Washington, particularly against teams with strong four-man defensive fronts like Cleveland and Cincinnati. And when asked why, Tomlin's answer was classic. You can't play 4-3 teams with 150-pound tight ends. You just can't. There are weight classes in combat sports for a reason. That line says it all. Pittsburgh wants to win with physicality, not finesse. They're leaning into their power identity, big bodies, smash-mouth football, and relentless intensity. After a smart bye week and a clear plan for the road ahead, it feels like the Steelers are coming out of this break not just rested, but refocused, and ready to make some serious noise in Week 6 and beyond. Stay with me. The next update might just reveal how these adjustments could change everything for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin kept it brutally honest and absolutely right. When those edge guys weigh 300 pounds, he said, you better have someone out there who looks like that animal. That's vintage Tomlin, real football talk from a coach who knows the trenches decide everything. His message? If you want to win in this league, you have to match muscle with muscle. That's exactly why Pittsburgh leaned into those heavy offensive personnel packages against Minnesota, and it's exactly what they'll continue doing as they enter divisional play against Cleveland and Cincinnati, two teams that thrive in the 4-3 front. You can't ask lighter tight ends like Pat Freiermuth or Connor Hayward to block 4-3 defensive ends all game. That's just not fair, and it's not how you build a real, punishing run game. And honestly, Tomlin's right again. The Steelers have finally found an identity that works. Power football, built through toughness and size. That's why those jumbo sets with Spencer Anderson and Darnell Washington have been so effective. They allow Pittsburgh to take control of the line of scrimmage and force defenses to respect the run, which, in turn, opens up play-action shots for Aaron Rodgers down the field. Earlier this season, the Steelers struggled on the ground because they were trying to run behind smaller tight ends like Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth against massive edge rushers, guys like Myles Garrett. You can't win that battle consistently. But now, with heavier personnel and smarter matchups, the run game is starting to click. This shift isn't just about blocking, it's about philosophy. Tomlin wants defenses to load up the box, to play heavy, to commit an extra man to stop the run. Because when they do, that's when Rodgers can strike deep with play action. It's chess, not checkers. And there's another layer to this. Tomlin hinted that the Steelers are done experimenting with lighter formations that don't fit their identity. He's all in on the formula that wins: physicality, control, and efficiency. It's about wearing opponents down until they break. Now, as we move to the next part of his press conference, Tomlin made it clear. Pittsburgh's next opponent, the Cleveland Browns, might look familiar, but they bring unique challenges of their own. He pointed out that Cleveland uses a ton of 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, something that will test the Steelers' defense in every way. And if you know Mike Tomlin, you know he's already game planning for that battle in the trenches. So, buckle up, because the next few weeks aren't just about football. They're about imposing will, and the Steelers are gearing up for war in the AFC North. The Cleveland Browns have built their offensive strength around 2 powerful tight ends, veteran David Njoku and rookie Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. Together, they've become a dangerous duo, bringing size, versatility, and balance to Cleveland's attack. Their 12 personnel sets, that's 2 tight ends on the field at once, have caused problems for defenses all season. But here's the good news for Pittsburgh. This isn't new territory for them. The Steelers have been facing these kinds of heavy formations since training camp. Their defense has gone up against similar 2 tight end looks from their own offense countless times in practice. So when Cleveland tries to run those physical, grinded-out packages, Pittsburgh won't be caught off guard. They've seen it, studied it, and prepared for it all year long. Mike Tomlin pointed this out during his presser, saying this familiarity could actually work in the Steelers' favor. It gives the defense an early edge, allowing them to anticipate plays, adjust alignments, and shut down Cleveland's rhythm before it ever starts. Now, as this divisional battle approaches, everyone's asking the same question. How confident are you in the Steelers this Sunday? Is it a lock or a trap game waiting to happen? Yes, the matchup between Myles Garrett and Broderick Jones is going to be one to watch. It's strength versus youth, power versus potential. But this game isn't just about one-on-one battles. It's about preparation, composure, and executing the Tomlin blueprint when the pressure's highest. So, as the Steelers gear up for this AFC North war, one thing's clear. They're walking into Cleveland with a plan, with confidence, and with momentum on their side. Stay with me, because the best football is just about to begin.